So a lot of things in Hollywood are ritualistic for sure. And if you pay close attention to it, you can see it. When you see somebody holding up this like this, with the two fingers close like this, that's the hand sign of the Baphomet. You know, they do Luciferianism.
The story we're about to explore isn't just another celebrity real estate tale. It's a last-ditch effort to hide a mansion that might hold more secrets than its owner ever planned to reveal. The timing is perfect. While Sean Diddy Combs sits in a New Jersey prison serving a 50-month sentence for transporting people across state lines for private encounters, his $61.5 million Beverly Hills estate, already inspected by federal agents in March 2024, has suddenly disappeared from the market. It's not because there aren't buyers or financial trouble. Sources say it's because what's inside the mansion is too risky to let anyone else see.
Tick tock, the clock is ticking on Diddy, because on Friday he finds out what his sentence is going to be, but today he found out what prosecutors would like that sentence to be, and it is vastly different from what his attorneys have suggested to the judge. Prosecutors want him to do 11 years, just over 11 years.
We're talking about the Holy Hills Mansion, 17,000 square feet of infamy. This is where the so-called freak-off gatherings allegedly took place, and where federal agents reportedly seized weapons, suspicious substances, and more than 1,000 bottles of personal lubricants during that infamous raid. The property went on the market in September 2024, just days before Diddy's arrest in New York, priced as if a high commission could gloss over its reputation. But after more than a year with little interest, and reports that potential buyers fled in shock during private tours, the listing was pulled on December 24th, Christmas Eve. Real estate agents say that timing is unusual, and legal experts call it desperate. Because this isn't about money, it's about control. And right now, Diddy doesn't have any.
Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy the Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around.
The question isn't just why the mansion was pulled from the market, it's what the buyers actually saw. Insiders whisper about hidden tunnels under the estate, leading to dead-end rooms with locked doors, discovered by visitors who walked away before making any deals. The timing also raises eyebrows. The decision comes as Diddy's legal team files an 84-page appeal, claiming his sentence was too harsh, that the judge overstepped, and that the jury's verdict didn't justify the punishment. At the same time, Netflix's docuseries Sean Combs, The Reckoning, executive produced by his longtime rival 50 Cent, has just dropped. It includes never-before-seen footage of Diddy in the days before his arrest, ranting at lawyers and planning his next moves. The mansion isn't just a house anymore, it's a liability, and the clock is ticking. Back in March 2024, Homeland Security agents raided this property along with Diddy's $48 million Miami waterfront home. What they found went beyond tabloid headline. They seized evidence, weapons, including parts for an AR-15 rifle, videos, though the contents remain sealed, and yes, the tunnel's now fueling speculation. Court filings from former associate Rodney, Lil Rod, Jones allege hidden cameras in every room, recording celebrities, athletes, and industry figures without consent during private gatherings. Jones claims Diddy held compromising footage of powerful people, a leverage library that could explain why some guests ignored the darker activities at the mansion. Here's the twist: if those recordings exist, they're still out there. And if buyers stumbled on physical evidence of them, it changes everything.
To get out in front of this and, tried to persuade Netflix not to come forward with it. I think it's an interesting argument because what they're claiming is, Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, has had a long-standing, animosity against Diddy and sort of vice versa. And because he's at the helm, they're arguing this can't be taken seriously. This should sort of be seen as propaganda. And one of the things that Netflix hit back with was, yes, he's the executive producer. He doesn't necessarily have creative control. And that's something we...
The mansion's delisting isn't just a real estate failure, it's a strategic move. Diddy's team knows the property is a ticking time bomb. Every tour risks another leak, another witness, another piece of evidence ending up in the wrong hands. This is the same estate where, according to Cassie Venter's 2023 lawsuit, she was allegedly pressured into performances with hired companions while Diddy documented it all. It's also where, by multiple accounts, non-disclosure agreements were signed under pressure and where substances were reportedly used as freely as the allegations now filling court filings. And then there's the underground swimming tunnel. After the raid, it took on a darker reputation when social media exploded with theories that Diddy used it to evade authorities during the March search. His lawyer called those claims nonsense, but the damage was done. The mansion's reputation was sealed.
If he gets 14 months, if the defense gets what they want,
he'd essentially get out October 3rd because he's been in for a
13
year,
months.
and you get 15% credit for time served. So he'd basically be out after the sentence, and then he'd be on supervision.
Now, fast forward to December 2025. Diddy's appeal is moving forward, and his prison release date quietly shifted to May 2028, though no one has explained why. His legal team is raising alarms about allegedly stolen footage in the Netflix documentary, threatening lawsuits, while 50 Cent watches from the sidelines, having spent years dropping hints about Diddy's behavior, even creating mock Diddy oil labels after those lubricant bottles were seized. The docuseries doesn't just revisit old claims, it adds new voices. Jurors from the trial say they were disturbed by the evidence. Former associates describe a culture of intimidation. And then there's the footage, pre-arrest Diddy allegedly orchestrating his defense, unaware he's being recorded. If that made it to screen, imagine what didn't. Here's where the mansion comes back into play. Sources say it wasn't pulled from the market due to lack of interest. It was pulled because the few serious buyers who toured left shaken. One group walked away after finding disturbing modifications in the basement, areas not listed in the original floor plans. Another reportedly discovered a room with thick soundproofing, raising questions about its purpose. And then there are the tunnels, not the decorative grotto pool marketed in luxury listings, but narrow, unmarked passages branching off the main house, ending in doors that no tour guests had keys for. When asked, celebrity realtor Kurt Rappaport allegedly said those areas were under renovation. But renovation doesn't explain why security system logs obtained by investigators show those tunnel doors being accessed late at night during the peak of the so-called freak-off parties.
He did a whole lot to a whole lot of people, and now he's paying for it. So all these cats, I guess y'all get y'all visitation rights. Some of y'all can get y'all conjugal visits right with them.
Diddy's team insists all the attention is just noise, that the delisting is about privacy, about waiting for the right buyer. But privacy doesn't explain why the mansion was first listed in September 2024, just days before his arrest, as if someone knew the storm was coming and wanted to move it first. It also doesn't explain why, in the months since, not a single serious offer has stuck. Whispers from contractors who worked on the estate after the raid add fuel to the fire. They claim they were hired to seal certain areas before the house went back on the market. Seal what, exactly? The tunnels, the rooms with cameras, the spaces where, according to Lil Rod's lawsuit, Diddy kept his most sensitive recordings. Meanwhile, the legal dominoes keep falling. Last month, the LA County Sheriff's Department opened a new misconduct battery probe linked to Diddy. Civil lawsuits continue to pile up, each citing the mansion as ground zero. And then there's the appeal, Diddy's last chance at freedom before May 2028. His lawyers argue the judge overstepped, acting as a 13th juror, and that the sentence was too harsh for the convictions he received. Here's the catch. The convictions were for transportation, not the racketeering or trafficking allegations that didn't stick. Those are the claims tied to the mansion, the parties, the recordings, and the tunnels. If Diddy's team is fighting so hard to reduce his time, it's not just about the years. It's about what happens when he gets out. A man with his resources doesn't accept defeat unless the alternative is worse.
So that's where Diddy has been for months now, but last week he was taken to the hospital. According to reports from the New York Post, Diddy was transported from MDC in the cover of darkness at about 10 p.m. on January 30th. He was taken to a Brooklyn hospital for an MRI after reporting issues with his knee.
And that brings us back to the house, the one that won't sell, the one with the tunnels, the one that, according to multiple sources, still holds items Diddy's team is desperate to retrieve before anyone else sees them. We're not talking about furniture. We're talking about hard drives, ledgers, and other evidence that could implicate not just Diddy, but the circle of power players who attended those gatherings, signed NDAs, and thought their secrets were safe behind gated walls. If the mansion was a vault, the question is simple: what's inside? And who will break the silence to tell us? What we know for sure is this: Diddy didn't pull the listing on a whim, buyers didn't leave because of the price, and the tunnels don't just lead nowhere. Someone knows where they go, and what's behind those doors. Over the past year, it's become clear, in this story, the walls and the ground beneath them are always listening. The tunnels under Diddy's mansion aren't just an eccentric feature, they're a blueprint for hiding things. And when we start connecting the dots, the picture grows darker by the minute. Take the closed-off rooms with locked doors, the ones potential buyers reportedly discovered during private tours. These weren't storage closets or unfinished renovation spaces. 3 separate sources familiar with the property say they were regularly accessed in the years before the federal raids, with security logs showing late-night entries that didn't match any household staff schedules. One contractor, speaking anonymously, described them as purpose-built, small, soundproofed, and equipped with ventilation systems, suggesting they weren't meant for short visits. So the questions remain: what were they for, and why would a 17,000 square foot mansion need hidden chambers that don't appear on any public floor plan?
Look at how many people he affected negatively. That was his trade-off to gain what he had. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, said he seen him doing a ritual where they dove. What is that? And I feel like it's being overlooked because they see him doing the dance moves with the baggy clothes. You know, some of the ladies in his videos were trans ladies.
Then there's the underwater passage connecting the main house to the grotto pool, a feature that took on new significance when federal agents raided the property in March 2024. Social media exploded with theories that Diddy used it to slip away undetected, a claim his lawyer called absurd. But the tunnel wasn't just a quirky design choice. It provided a private route from inside the mansion to an exit beyond the estate's main security cameras. Former staff now whisper that it was used more than once to move people or items without being seen. And consider the timing of the raid. Diddy wasn't home when agents arrived, and he wasn't in Miami either, where his second property was also searched. So where was he? If the tunnels were just for show, why did FBI evidence logs later note unaccounted for access points? The bigger question is who else knew about them. The mansion's security system, according to leaked contractor documents, was managed by a team that included household staff and outside technicians, all under strict NDAs. One technician who worked there in 2022 told a private investigator that certain camera feeds were routed to an offsite server, not the main system. He said he was instructed to ignore those connections. Fast forward to Rodney Lil Rod Jones's lawsuit, which claims hidden cameras recorded high-profile guests without consent. If the feeds were stored externally, who had access? And what happens to that footage now that the mansion is off the market? Its secrets locked away once again.
Now we've done 3 others where we've laid out the prosecution case. This time, we're talking specifically, what is Diddy's defense? And we decided to test it with a mock jury, and it is fascinating.
It is absolutely fascinating, keeping in mind that the real jury will be sitting down to do this. The trial starts.
The contradictions in Diddy's legal strategy only make the story more mysterious. His appeal argues that the judge overstepped by portraying him as a predator and that the jury's verdict didn't justify the sentence. Yet at the same time, his team is fighting to suppress evidence tied to the mansion, the very place where the most damning allegations began. They're suing Netflix over The Reckoning, claiming stolen footage, while refusing to publicly address what's actually in that footage. They pulled the property from the market just as new civil lawsuits started, each citing the estate as a central location in the alleged misconduct. It's a paradox. Diddy's lawyers want the world to see him as a victim of a witch hunt, but they're rushing to silence the one place that could confirm or deny the claims. Then there's the mansion's original listing photos, the ones showing the theater, beverage cellar, spa, and other luxuries of a $61 million home. But notice what's missing. No mention of the tunnels, no reference to the underground passage, and no images of the closed-off rooms. Real estate experts call that a red flag. Former associates call it a cover-up. If these features were just quirky extras, why hide them? Unless they weren't meant to be seen at all. The deeper we dig, the more the mansion looks like a machine built for one purpose, keeping secrets. Hidden cameras, off-site servers, soundproofed rooms, they weren't accidents. They were all part of a system. And systems like that don't work alone. They need maintenance. They need people to look the other way. So who else was involved? The technicians who installed the cameras, the security team who monitored the feeds, the high-profile guests who attended and never spoke out. Here's the thing about secrets this big. They don't stay buried forever. Someone always talks. Someone always slips up. And in Diddy's case, it might be the walls themselves doing the talking.
He's a deviant, and he plays with dark magic. These are facts. And you always see these people who have these meteoric rises. Nobody's giving them, nobody's backing them. They just like they did it from the ground up. And the trade-off with that is you have to perpetuate darkness.
The mansion wasn't just a private retreat. It was the center of a much larger operation that extended far beyond its gates. Diddy's Bad Boy Records empire wasn't built on music alone. It thrived on connections, on the kind of influence that comes from having leverage over the right people. Industry insiders have long whispered about the overlap between his label's roster, his infamous gatherings, and the high-profile names who reportedly attended his properties: athletes, politicians, even foreign dignitaries. These visits were often disguised as exclusive industry parties or charity fundraisers. But when you consider the allegations of hidden cameras and soundproofed rooms, those gatherings take on a darker meaning. This wasn't just entertainment, it was about control. And in a world where reputation is currency, control is everything. The mansion's operations were also tied to a complex financial network. Bad Boy Records wasn't just a record label, it was a branding machine, and Diddy's properties were part of that brand. The same estate that hosted lavish parties also served as a backdrop for music videos, photo shoots, and private meetings with investors. Former employees hinted that some business expenses were routed through shell companies, making it almost impossible to track who paid for what or why. When federal agents raided the property in 2024, they weren't just looking for evidence of personal misconduct. They were following a paper trail suggesting that the mansion was part of a larger financial ecosystem, one where favors were exchanged, debts were collected, and silence was the ultimate currency.
You're hearing about all these videos with celebrities, not going to be part of the criminal case. And
Cassie video.
The Cassie video is going to be part.
Right.
We're going to get to that in a minute with the jury. But what we did was, number one, we showed them the prosecution's case from one of our documentaries. And then we showed them the defense from the current document.
The real danger now isn't just what Diddy did inside those walls, it's who else could be caught in the fallout. The mansion's alleged recording systems didn't only capture Diddy's actions, they may have recorded everyone who entered. And in a city where careers rise or fall on scandal, that kind of footage isn't just damaging, it's explosive. Consider the names already linked to Diddy's circle: A-list actors, championship athletes, even a former mayor reportedly at one of the so-called freak-off gatherings. None have been accused of illegal activity, but the suggestion of their presence in that environment is enough to throw PR teams into crisis mode. The question isn't whether they did anything illegal, it's whether they were recorded, and what someone like Diddy, known for strategic leverage, could have done with those recordings. That's why the mansion's secrets aren't just Diddy's problem. They're a liability for an entire network of powerful people who have every reason to keep those doors locked. The sudden delisting of the property isn't just about hiding evidence, it's about cutting off access to a trove of potential blackmail material. If the walls of that estate could talk, they wouldn't only implicate Diddy, they could drag half of Hollywood, the music industry, and even politics into the spotlight with him. The next revelation won't just reveal what happened in the tunnels, it will show who else was there and what they're willing to do to keep their names out of the headlines.
That footage ended up going to 50 Cent and his production company, and it's kind of the centerpiece.
Sold to them.
Yes, was the centerpiece of the documentary. So watch this particular scene, because this is where a lot of people feel Diddy really screwed over someone that he should be very, very...
Now let's talk about the timing of the Netflix documentary. Reckoning didn't arrive by chance. It dropped in early December, just as Diddy's appeal was gaining momentum and just as the mansion was quietly pulled from the market. The series features interviews with jurors, accusers, and former insiders who describe the estate as the center of a culture built on pressure and control. But there's something missing from the public discussion. The documentary's producers have hinted that there's more footage they couldn't include, material they say was too sensitive and too legally risky to air. That raises a serious question. What's on those tapes? And why would Netflix, a platform known for pushing limits, hold back unless the stakes were incredibly high? At the same time, Diddy's prison release date has quietly shifted to May 2028, a few weeks earlier than first reported. His legal team calls it a clerical change, but insiders suggest it could be part of a broader negotiation, possibly involving cooperation behind the scenes. Because if the mansion truly sits at the center of this scandal, then whoever controls it, and whatever remains inside, holds real power. And right now, that power is still unsettled. So this is where things stand: a mansion filled with locked doors, a web of tunnels that seem to lead nowhere, and a man in prison fighting harder to suppress evidence than to publicly clear his name. Buyers who toured the home and left shaken aren't talking. Contractors who worked on the hidden spaces are bound by strict NDAs, and the footage that could connect everything is still out there. What do you think is still hidden inside that house? And more importantly, who is making sure it stays hidden? Stay alert, stay curious, and remember, truth doesn't simply surface. It gets pulled into the light. We'll be watching.